Hello, my good friends. Welcome into another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. On this week's episode, I want to talk to you about the healthy balance between numbers obsession and simply showing up. Numbers obsession and simply showing up. In this culture of marketing that we're in this world that we're in, it is so much easier to track data and to look at numbers and to be interested in dollar amounts and viewer counts and download numbers and all of these things. And we should do that. I am a huge fan of taking the evidence driven approach in my business and with my clients. That's exactly how we work. And yet, inevitably, when you're doing content marketing of any kind, when you're doing work in business like this of any kind, you are going to have to show up for a while where the results are maybe not going to be exactly what you wanted. I recently I've gotten into the UFC doing fight night with the guys from church, and I've started to get into it a little bit more and stuff. And I, you know, we watch like the pay-per-views. And so these are events that you can pay for, with your ESPN Plus subscription or whatever it is. I don't even know how all of that works, but basically it's special events that you have to pay extra for to be able to watch. And these are the big main events that people are always trying to get into. They're trying to work their way up to the top of this organization, the UFC, to fight these biggest fights where they get the most money and in front of the most people. And what's interesting about that is the journey that it takes for some to get there, for most to get there, is a very, very long time. Now, yeah, I mean, these guys are typically, they're early 20s when they first start showing up, typically early 20s, and then go through about their mid to late 30s, maybe. But what's the point? Well, the point is that they didn't start there. They didn't start with all the fans. They didn't start with hundreds of thousands or millions of Twitter followers. They didn't start with accolades and sponsorships and all of these things. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of grueling hard work to get there. And when you think about this, this sort of mentality works across the board, and it's true across the board. Nobody arrives right away. Nobody arrives right away. The trick is with things like content marketing, for example, it can be really difficult to put this in perspective because what you're doing is you're constantly looking at these numbers and you're saying, well, maybe people aren't downloading this like I really want them to. Like maybe we're getting 3 downloads per episode and we want more like 300 downloads per episode. You know, are we ever going to get there? And the key to the entire game is persistence. The one who persists is the one who will continue to exist in the future. That's it. That's all you can bank on. That's all you can hope for. Now, is there a time to maybe pull the plug and stop? Well, sure. But I would say that anything that you're going to do, anything that's worth doing, is worth your consistent, continued effort for at least around a year, especially in this world of online marketing that we're in. So, if you have not been giving it your best shot for around a year or so, then I don't think you yet have enough data. I don't think you yet have enough time. I don't think you yet have enough experience to determine whether or not you should be pulling the plug. 1 to 3 years and it's still not working? Yeah, maybe then you should definitely think about pulling the plug and taking a different route. And you say, well, that sounds like forever. Well, it does sound like forever, but it's also not forever. Okay. 1 to 3 years is a very, very small percentage of your entire life. And every step of the way, you are going to be gaining experience that will help you as you move forward. For example, Gary Vee is a very influential, content marketing guy, right? He talks, um, about marketing your business, growing your business, mostly through social media, content production, things like that. Millions of followers, started out with something called Wine Library TV was sort of his first foray into this stuff. And, um, he talks about this a lot, that the perspective that you have on life. It's just you have so much more time than you think you actually have. It's a very small blip on the radar. He is somebody who now has got millions of followers. It's easy to, look at him and look at his success, but he didn't even start online. He didn't even get his start producing content until he was like, I think 35. I think it was 35 years old. That means I have a 2-year, 3-year. I have a 3-year head start on him if I were starting now. And I actually started years and years ago. So I have this huge head start. And so what is the point? Well, you can have the same thing. If you haven't started yet, why not? Why haven't you started today? So what is it? This healthy balance between numbers obsession and showing up. Should we be obsessed with numbers? Frankly, yes, because numbers help us to know when we should start, when we should stop, how we should pivot. Numbers are a good thing. Data is a good thing. But if you pay too much attention to that in the beginning, then you'll stop before you ever really got started. And that's the problem. Okay. You can't stop before you really get started, or else you'll never finish. And that's what I want to leave you with today. I just want you to think about that, this healthy balance between numbers obsession and showing up. In the beginning, you've got to show up. You've got to show up hard. You got to show up passionately. You've got to show up consistently. And then between 1 to 3 years, I would say, if you're really passionate for the long haul about what you're doing, then you'll last that long. Okay. And if you're not passionate enough about it to last that long, then you won't and you'll stop, and you should, because people are only going to continue to work and continue to enjoy and continue to experience life with people who are that passionate about it. And they'll just simply turn you off if they can sense that you're not. So there's that healthy balance between numbers and showing up. How can you apply this in your business today? Number one, have you started content marketing at all? Have you started it at all? If you haven't, you need to get it out there. The internet is made up of content. That's literally what the internet is. You are not in business if you're not doing this. So you've got to get out there somewhere. You've got to start educating. There are better ways than others to do this. And you need to find out what that might be for your business. Maybe there's, maybe you haven't settled quite on the kind of content yet that you should be doing. Maybe right now you're trying blogging. That's not working out for you when a podcast will take off. So think about those things. Think through what your audience is going to be listening to or watching or reading, and see if you can make content that you think would actually speak to your target audience. Okay. That's all I have for you on this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. I hope it's helpful. Again, the healthy balance between numbers obsession and showing up. This is something that you're going to have to get down in your business, and you're going to have to consistently show up in order to see the results that you want. And then it gets fun to be obsessed with the numbers. All right, you guys take care. See you in the next episode.